Takeaways from a Saturday night win by the Phoenix Suns over the Cleveland Cavaliers. Is it a return to form? Why was it a return to form? Thoughts on Deandre Ayton's right knee contusion? What could it mean if he has to miss time? And is he going to miss time? And then we'll reset things as we make our way into another week awaiting this Robert Sarver story from ESPN. Catch all of it coming up next on Locked On Suns.
You are Locked On Suns, your daily Phoenix Suns podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
We are back. This is Locked On Phoenix Suns. I'm your host, Brendon Kleen, covering the Suns the past 5 seasons as a credentialed media member. Thank you for making Locked On Suns your first listen. Every single morning, we are available for free on our Locked On Suns YouTube channel, as well as all audio platforms to listen in podcast version. You can follow the show on Twitter if you don't already, at Locked On PHX Suns. Follow me on Twitter if you don't already, at Brendon Kleen 14. Again, a 101-92 victory over the Cavs by the Suns, and a game that just is not as close as it looked. So we'll get into that. Takeaways, the pace of play is really what I want to focus on, and why the Suns were able to turn things around, look a little bit better on offense in this one, and allow that to bleed into their transition defense. Funny how those things are always connected. And we'll also talk about Ayton leaving the game early. Pretty solid game from him, although he did have to depart in the second half. What does it mean? Will he miss time? If he has to miss time, what does that look like? We'll get into that stuff. And I want to talk about a little bit about Jalen Smith, Sticks, getting into the rotation over Abdul Nader. Really the first time in a competitive portion of a game the Suns are trying to win where we have really seen Jalen Smith. So very much worth talking about that. And then want to close things out again with just why this Sarver story hasn't come out and what might happen this week. So takeaways here. I just got done with a rewatch. I was only able to catch bits and parts of it in real time initially. So I went back and just sat down. No Cardinals game here on a Sunday, so I was able to watch it and focus in a little bit more. And I will admit to you, when I saw the Cavs' first bucket and it was a transition layup by Colin Sexton, I was, rolling my eyes a little bit. Here we go again. It's been such an issue for them, taking bad shots, not being able to get back, not communicating, suffering because of a lack of size, and allowing teams to get those easy baskets in transition, fast break, whatever it might be. And so thought it was going to be deja vu. It wasn't, though, of course. The Cavs were only able to put up 11 fast break points. Only 40 of their 92 total points were in the paint. The pace of this game was 101.6. I'll get into that a little bit in a second, because that can be misleading, and actually don't think pace is necessarily a good or bad thing when it comes to the Suns' transition defense. I don't think that's the number we really need to look at. But the Suns were able to lock things down a little bit. They were able to run their offense through Booker in large part, allowing him to get into the mid-range, set his teammates up, that type of thing. They started to generate a few more threes. I believe it was in the second quarter when they really heated up a little bit and made 3 in a row. They only ended up making 6 on the night, but that was kind of the kick that they needed. They go on a 15-2 run that eventually becomes, I believe, a 50-12 run in this game. So, the Cavs have been sort of a story in this season so far. Evan Mobley has looked very good. Darius Garland is a pretty strong player, despite I do think he's still not the type that's really a takeover threat. Like, he's not somebody where he rules a game, dominates a game. And so that's a part that he's going to need to work on. And the Suns have the talent to just overmatch teams like that, right? And that's really what I think happened. But I think there are also plenty of things to take away here. So I will start by saying, I said only 11 fast break points. The Cavs, because their half-court offense was so bad, were able to actually have statistically a fairly strong transition scoring efficiency relative to their overall offense. They added 8.2 points per possession, per 100 possession, 0.82 points per possession in transition compared to their overall offense. But again, I think that says more about they couldn't score in the half court. So when they were able to run, it looked pretty good for them. But the really the golden number, this is all per cleaning the glass, is the Cavs were only able to get out in transition on less than 16% of their total possessions. So the Suns were able to they were able to force them into being a half court team. And we know the Suns have the talent, again, to overmatch Cleveland. Again, Garland didn't really have it going. Love had a nice stretch when he first came in, but then didn't really finish very strong. Only one player had more than 11 points for Cleveland in this game, and that was Cedi Osman because he got hot from three. So that's really the numbers here. The reasoning, though, and it's why I said to hold off a little bit when it comes to just looking at pace, is the Suns actually were able to really make the Cavs pay with the Suns' own transition offense. So they had almost a quarter of their offensive possessions coming in transition. They had a plus 4.1 per 100 possessions in terms of adding juice to their offense. And so where that all comes down, when you look at Devin Booker kind of being the fulcrum over the past two games, really, including that Sacramento game when they made their late run and now this Cleveland game, is that I think in a lot of ways, the Suns' best antidote, the best way for the Suns to fight other teams scoring in transition is for the Suns to also push in transition. Because what I think you have happening in a lot of these games is sort of this oil and water problem. And I think we saw it in the postseason last year, right? Where other teams are comfortable and potentially better scoring when the game is moving. Could put Milwaukee into that. You could put the Lakers into that from last year's postseason run. And the Suns, especially when Chris Paul is running things, prefer to be a little bit of a slower, more methodical offense. Yes, the ball moves around. Yes, players are cutting and slashing and running off screens and everything else, but they're taking time off of the clock. And so you have this thing where other teams are trying to push. The Suns are kind of up against that, trying to slow things down. And then I think that just gets the rhythm gets away from them. They're not comfortable. And I think that's what can lead to a lot of these issues. So when you look at a game like this, where the Suns were actually able to do even more damage than Cleveland in transition, even if Cleveland was scoring fairly well when they were running, the Suns were even better at it. And you put the ball in Devin Booker's hands, the offense gets a little bit less predictable. He's more of a threat to pull up for three in transition, for instance, or, he has this chemistry with Mikal Bridges in transition that's really good. Even when the bench is out there, you have guys like Cam Johnson and Landry Shamet who are constantly looking for those transition threes and they're, those hit-ahead passes. Like that stuff is actually a great way for the Suns to just get more comfortable, fight fire with fire a little bit, and let the pace of the game come more naturally to them, have more control over the pace of the game, and not allow those easy leak out plays where they're looking for slow, the other team is looking to push. And I think that's just why it's just a mindset thing, I think, in a lot of these circumstances where, you're trying to orchestrate this offense, you're trying to set things up every time down the floor, and the other team has, maybe it's a younger team, maybe it's a more athletic team than you, and they're down. They're out before you even can collect your thoughts. So it might be an overly simplistic way to look at it. I'm not saying every game is the same, and that's been the exact story of every single matchup. My general point is just to say the way that the Suns might need to look at controlling the transition problems that they have had and that they even still had against Cleveland is to do more damage in that realm themselves. That's my big takeaway from the Suns' 101-92 victory over Cleveland. We'll talk more about the Ayton injury and Jalen Smith minutes here in just 1 second. First, though, a quick word from Indeed. Thanks to the Great Resignation, as it's being called, the job market is filled with once-in-a-generation talent. So how is your organization going to put together an all-star team and capture that talent? Your front office needs an all-star roster, and you need Indeed. Indeed is a hiring partner that gets you what you really want, a short list of quality candidates, as fast as possible because you can do it all. Attract, interview, and hire all at Indeed. Indeed is an unbelievably powerful hiring partner where you can, again, attract interview, and hire all together. Indeed partners with you on every step of the hiring process. You can find talent with the skills you need through tools like the Indeed Instant Match, assessments, and virtual interviews. With Instant Match, as soon as you sponsor a post, you get a short list of quality candidates whose resumes on Indeed match your job description, and you can invite them to apply right away. Instant Match gets over 90% of employers quality candidates as soon as they sponsor that post, and candidates who are invited to apply through Instant Match are 3 times more likely to apply to your job than those who can only see it in search, according to Indeed data. So they have calculated this program to get you exactly what you need as fast as possible to get that talent into your door. So get started right now with the $75 sponsored job credits. Upgrade your job post at Indeed.com/locked on, all one word. Get a $75 credit at Indeed.com/locked on, Indeed.com/locked on. Offer valid through December 31st, the end of the year. Terms and conditions apply. Need to hire? You need Indeed. Today's show is also brought to you by DirecTV. Does this sound familiar? You've got one device that lets you catch the game live, another that lets you stream your favorite shows. You're watching sports highlights on your phone, and you've got your neighbor's best friends log in as well just for the good stuff. Well, I want to tell you about a simple way to get all the entertainment that you love without the hassle, and a great way to finally get your TV together. It's called DirecTV Stream, and it brings your live TV and on-demand favorites together like never before, so you can watch your favorite sports, movies, and shows all in one place. That means no more juggling remotes and no need to buy another device ever again. And the best part is no annual contract. So get rid of the clutter and the confusion and get your TV together with DirecTV Stream. You can learn more at directtv.com. That's directtv.com. Compatible device required. Content varies by package. Deandre Ayton goes down in the second half, right knee contusion. We saw him limping off of the floor. He said post-game, David Brandt of the Associated Press was able to track Deandre down post-game in the hallway and asked him. He said that he banged knees with an opposing player. He looked to have a little bit of a limp post-game per David Brandt as well. And on the other hand, Monty did say he expects Ayton to be, quote, okay. I don't know. Does that mean he plays right away in the next game? Does that just mean it's not serious? I don't think, again, that the Suns necessarily need to be pushing, although getting out to a 1-3 start, maybe the calculus is a little bit different. You don't want to have a guy sit needlessly. I never would necessarily advocate for that, but we do have a fairly quick turnaround here before the next couple of games. Maybe it is fairly reasonable to just sit him down for a game or two, if that were to happen. And just generally speaking, the Pelicans game is here on Tuesday night. You're going to be looking at a situation where the Suns' big man depth, despite adding JaVale McGee, starts to get a little bit tested. That'll transition nicely into talking about Jalen Smith here in a second, but of course the other guy would be Frank Kaminsky. I will tip my hat to those of you who have said and probably have been right all along when I've been critical of Frank Kaminsky that in the role he was set up to play once JaVale McGee came back as sort of a third center, you could do a lot worse, right? He's a very good option there. If your starting center, a potentially max level player goes down and you're still able to plug Frank Kaminsky in there, I think you're feeling pretty good about yourself. So that's a luxury, and the Suns are going to be able to lean on him if JaVale McGee is going to have to start. Again, I don't know if that's what we're looking at with this particular Ayton injury, but it's worth examining because Ayton has been very healthy for the past couple of years, but that also can change quickly, right? I mean, very rare that guys just play all season, every season. There's only a few who can do that. So if that's the rotation, I think you'll continue to see more minutes from Jalen Smith, who got his start today or got his kind of start in the rotation. He obviously did not start the game. He played 9 minutes, was 1 of 4 from the field, but I liked his energy, and I thought Eddie Johnson's point, the minute that he checked into the game, that Sticks checked into the game, was perfect. You're not going to stay on the floor if you're Jalen Smith and get more minutes and earn the trust of your teammates and your coaching staff by looking to score or block every shot, right? You're going to stay on the floor and you're going to earn minutes and get the trust of everybody by playing good defense, playing sound positional defense, executing what the team wants you to do out there, and playing with good energy. And 2 offensive rebounds, 1 steal, and 1 block, those are the numbers you should be looking at with Jalen Smith, not 1 of 4 from the field. I mean, that hardly matters. They're not, never, at least anytime this season, will the Suns be looking out at the lineup that they have on the floor and thinking we really need a bucket from sticks right now. And if they are, the season's been very, very catastrophic. That's not what he needs to do with this roster. And so what he does need to do is rebound, hold up as a power forward, which, I mean, maybe he'll play some center at times if he stays in the rotation and continues to be out there. I wouldn't be surprised, but that's been one of the positives of this guy ever since he was drafted, since we saw him here and there last season in garbage time, in the G League bubble, in Summer League. It's that he actually looks like a player who you could see playing the 4 more than I thought. I thought when they drafted him, his lower body, his hips, he was not going to be mobile enough at the NBA level to play forward and defend the types of guys that he's going to need to defend. Now, Cleveland is an interesting matchup because they play so big. They had Evan Mobley out there at the 4, Dean Wade, who's not, the most athletic mobile player, Kevin Love. These are not guys that are going to really test you in that way. It's not like it's Kawhi Leonard at the 4 out there, LeBron James, somebody like that, of course. However, I think Sticks has shown he can hold up as a regular season power forward. And so do those things. Do things like switching onto Ricky Rubio and getting a couple of stops like we saw him do. He got a block on Rubio. He also had another time where he forced Rubio to give the ball up after switching onto him in a pick and roll. He had a nice box out against Jarrett Allen where he got an offensive rebound and was able to reset a possession. I believe the Suns got an open 3 out of it. So those are the types of things you're going to need to see him to continue to do. And I think he has shown he can at least do that. Now, yes, does he need to make open threes? The 1 3 he got was wide open, but I'll also give him some credit. It's kind of the first real 3-pointer he's ever taken in the NBA that mattered. Again, this is really the first time we've seen him out there in a real moment. So I'm not going to say that this shooting efficiency mark is like the baseline for him going forward, but he does need to make them, right? I mean, he needs to be able to make his shots. He needs to be able to, turn those offensive rebounds into putbacks rather than, passing the ball out, whatever. That all will come, and I think it will have to come if he's going to, maybe by the end of the season be somebody we're talking about as a potential playoff player. But for a start and for what we're hoping to see him become as a player, I think it was a great, great debut in a real moment for the first time for Jalen Smith. So that's really it from that Cavs game. I thought it was a nice way to get back on track. I think that they reminded themselves of some things, and maybe, Smith over Nader, it's a way to get some more size out there. If they can keep, chugging along, if this Ayton thing isn't too bad, I think that we're going to maybe see them start to string some wins together. This New Orleans team looks terrible, so they can get back to 500 on Tuesday. I think that'd be a great start. Let's reset things, though, with this Robert Sarver situation. Again, don't have a ton of intel on this or anything like that, but we'll do some tea leaf reading. I know it's something that Suns fans are still talking and thinking and wondering about. So we'll do that in just a quick second. First, though, a word from Built Bar. Couldn't be more excited to tell you about Built Bar. You know how much I love them. They're my favorite protein bar. They are part of my literally daily diet. I have been on a very exhausting and very challenging workout routine since about April, May, and Built Bar has been my one true love that entire time. I've loved them since, long ago, but whereas they used to be snacks and maybe splurges when I felt like I was extra hungry or just wanted the sweetness of the Built Bar as an extra snack throughout the day. Now they're straight up lifeblood for me. Just get up in the morning, I go work out. I don't want to do so on an empty stomach and make myself sick or worse. So pop one in, chomp down the Built Bar, any flavor, any type. They're all delicious. They're all covered in chocolate. They're all soft and easy to chew. Perfect to get you ready for the day, ready for your workout, or maybe rehab afterwards. So go to Built.com, use the promo code LOCK15, choose your favorite Built Bar, put that pack in your cart, make your order today, and get 15% off. Again, that's promo code LOCK15 for 15% off at Built.com. Closing out the show here, tea leaf reading on this Robert Sarver situation. Thanks again for making Locked On Suns your first listen. We're on YouTube. We're on every podcast platform. We are free. And we are here for you Monday through Friday. So thanks to all who are listening. Hop in, lock in. We are not going anywhere all season long. We are finally looking like we're watching the team that we knew we came to know and love last season. So let's hope that continues, and we'll keep going at it together here. But the only dark storm cloud, and admittedly a fairly big one, is this Robert Sarver situation. This story from ESPN, reportedly from Baxter Holmes, that was, per Jordan Schultz, who was everybody's favorite reporter for about 12 hours, said would come out on Monday or Tuesday. It has not. It's maybe part of why reporting that a story is coming out is a bizarre way to break news. Secondarily, John Gambadoro of Arizona Sports had some tweets that also pointed to the story coming out early last week. Not only were those obviously not proven to be true, but they have now been deleted. So I trust Baxter Holmes as a reporter. I trust all of ESPN's team for the most part, to be honest, in terms of their storytelling reporting team. Kevin Arnovitz, Brian Windhorst, Zach Lowe, Ramona Shelburne. They have a lot of incredible, deeply sourced and deeply reported folks on that staff. So I think what we eventually see, and I do think the story will still come out, will be pretty ironclad. I don't think it's been helpful the way that the news has slowly scuttled out. I frankly think it's incredibly unprofessional for somebody like Gambadoro, who wants to be a trusted source for Suns information and goes on to the radio daily as somebody that folks listen to and trust, to delete reports that he puts out and not answer for why. That would be, I don't know how much you guys care about what does and doesn't fly in journalism, but as somebody who does care about those things, in any case where you are making an adjustment, a retraction of anything you've said as a reporter, if you follow the Associated Press, who are the most capital J journalism of any of this, they are out there. If they even delete a tweet, they are putting another tweet out afterwards saying, we deleted a tweet for this reason. Here is the correction, whatever, sorry, that type of thing. So for Gambo to jump on, he was the one who added there's 50 plus interviews. He said the story is slated for this day. Gambo was the one who put Baxter Holmes' name to this. And now all of that information, aside from it being found in stories that were written as a result of Gambo's reporting, or people like me remembering, people like many of you remembering and being able to talk about it, doesn't exist anymore. That's so, it's disappointing and it's unprofessional and it's a problem. It's a problem much bigger than this, but it contributes to now what I think many of you are wondering is, when is this thing coming out? Is this thing even going to come out? And why has it happened the way that it has happened? I would guess there's a lot of double checking of things happening, not only at ESPN or the NBA department at ESPN, but, Jimmy Pitaro, who runs ESPN, people at Disney, people at ABC, potentially, whoever they can find who has the journalism and the legal experience to, number one, make sure that this is all going to be true and not something that can have holes poked into it. But I don't buy the idea that all of that is going to prevent this from coming out. I can't imagine that ESPN would be working on something allegedly dating back to 2020, get close enough to releasing it all throughout the summer that multiple people believed it was already going to come out during the summer, get close enough that somebody like Jordan Schultz and John Gambadoro would get to the 1 yard line of saying this thing is happening, that the Suns would release this entire statement, and then ESPN would just crawl into its hole and not put anything out. So I don't have anything to tell you as far as when. There's no way to guess. Who knows? I don't know why for sure. But what I can tell you is this entire thing has now created doubt, uncertainty, and hesitancy toward the contents of what's going to be reported whenever the thing does arrive in our hands. And for the seriousness of the allegations, which I've been harping on for many days now, since everything originally came out on this, when I'm talking to you guys about it on this show, the seriousness of that stuff, the degree to which it's important to take into consideration the fact that there are victims to these things that are being alleged that will likely show up in this story, to have that doubt and hesitancy and uncertainty creates it removes the desired, it gets us further away from the desired outcome, which is to have justice for the people who were wronged and to have the truth arrive. We're now in this murky gray zone where we don't know if we're going to get either of those things. And even if we do, there's going to be a level of apprehension about it because of the nature of Jordan Schultz thinking he was helping the situation or wanting the attention of putting it out early, John Gambadoro doing what he did, and the delay that's resulted. I don't know what, I don't know why, I don't know what, but I do know that. And I hope we get it soon because I think we're going to get it. And the longer we wait, the worse it is. So just to close things out for you guys as you get your heads thinking about the Suns again here on a Monday. Again, thank you for making Locked On Suns your first listen. Wherever we go from here, wins, losses, report, no report, new owner, same owner, I will be here with you guys making sense of all of it one day at a time. So enjoy your Monday, folks, and I will talk to you tomorrow.